Okay, so a few days ago I made a video talking about my predictions for Nintendo in 2023, and in that video I predict a few games that I think will be announced and released for the Nintendo Switch. Something I completely overlooked and didn't even consider, although now thinking about it I really wish I'd put it on that list, is Animal Crossing. Now that I think about it, I don't really think there's any shot we get through 2023 without a new Animal Crossing game on the Switch. Let me explain. So first off, let me address the elephant in the room, Animal Crossing New Horizons. Now, I did not play Animal Crossing New Horizons as much as most people. In fact, I only played it for like 2 weeks when it came out, and I enjoyed my time with it. You know, it wasn't anything crazy. I did not like it as much as New Leaf, but, you know, it was there, it existed, and evidently, according to everyone I follow, it wasn't really updated appropriately. Now, I don't know the logistics of this exactly. I know in 2021 it got that Happy Home Paradise DLC, but beyond that, it seems like people in general are pretty unhappy with how Nintendo handled Animal Crossing New Horizons, be that cut content that was data mined, or all these things that cut features from New Leaf. You know, all these things that kind of just made people a little salty about New Horizons and how they updated it, considering how successful it was. This is an unusually huge success for Nintendo. This game has sold over 40 million copies, and that is insane. The only other Switch game that's, you know, close to that is Mario Kart, which has sold 50 million. Animal Crossing was never that. Animal Crossing has never been that. And Animal Crossing typically has been a franchise that sells 10 million copies, and that's good. That's really good still, but it's never been this juggernaut of an IP that sells up there with Nintendo's biggest IP, which is Mario Kart. So to see them not really support New Horizons that well is really weird. And it kind of got me thinking that, like, okay, well, if they didn't really support that game as well as they should have, maybe they're just making a new game. And I don't necessarily mean the next mainline Animal Crossing. I think that is almost certainly being saved for the next Nintendo console in like 3 years. And let me be clear, I do think there's a good chance that team that makes Animal Crossing and Splatoon is working on that next generation Animal Crossing right now. I think that is totally possible, but maybe something smaller. And there are a few obvious options. I'll get this one out of the way because I don't know if I necessarily agree. I don't think this is what would probably happen, but I've seen a lot of people talking about New Leaf HD. I would love that. New Leaf was my first Animal Crossing game, and if they brought New Leaf back, oh my goodness, that would be so nostalgic for me as a casual Animal Crossing fan. Seeing New Leaf on Switch would be awesome. I know, and people might think like, oh, well, they already have New Horizons, why would they really want to port that? No matter what, the next Animal Crossing is not going to sell as well as New Horizons, so I think Nintendo just kind of needs to accept that. And by releasing New Leaf, A, you're basically apologizing to fans that were complaining about New Horizons lacking content, and B, you're just making easy money. They've already had some 3DS games come over to Switch, most notably Miitopia, especially if the Switch is going to last like 2 or 3 more years, like I'm assuming, because Nintendo said it's halfway through its life cycle in 2022. If it's halfway through its life cycle, you would want maybe another Animal Crossing game. Maybe not like a full new game, but a port or a remake of New Leaf would actually do really good. I think that would probably be a bigger seller than a lot of new games on the Switch just because of that New Horizons staying power. Because let's make this perfectly clear. Animal Crossing New Horizons, the juggernaut of the success that it was, if Nintendo leaves that on the table and doesn't make another Animal Crossing game on Switch, that is really weird. Every major Nintendo franchise has 2 games on the Switch. Splatoon has 2 games. Kirby has 2 games plus now. Fire Emblem has 2 games. Mario has 2 games. Zelda's gonna have 2 3D games. Like, this is unusual activity for a Nintendo console. Normally we get that 1 game and that is it. Even with Mario Kart, I think Nintendo realized, like, okay, if the Switch is gonna be around this long, we gotta add new content to it. Because I don't think they really wanted to. That Booster Course Pass DLC was announced out of nowhere. That was 5 years after the game came out, which was 4 years after it came out. So for me, it just doesn't sit right to leave Animal Crossing with just 1 game when every other Nintendo IP has multiple on the Switch. With that being said, though, I don't fully agree with a lot of people saying that New Leaf would come out. That it would be a little uncharacteristic of Nintendo to port a 3DS game like that, especially a game like that. You know, they've never ported a Smash Brothers game or a Mario Kart game, and I think Animal Crossing is kind of in that vein. However, first of all, it would make a lot of sense and make them a lot of money. However, though, I do think what we are almost guaranteed to see in 2023 for the Switch is some sort of spin-off. Now, back in 2015, we had our very first Animal Crossing spin-offs ever. We had Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer for 3DS, as well as Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival for Wii U. Both games I don't think people really love that much. I actually enjoyed Happy Home Designer quite a bit, but that was a moment for the franchise where they're like, hey, we can make spin-offs for this, and that's a big deal. Hell, even Splatoon doesn't have a spinoff yet, which I also think that is weird and kind of suspect. Now, I don't know what the spinoff would be if it releases this year on the Switch. You would think Happy Home Designer, but that's what the DLC for New Horizons was, right? It was Happy Home Paradise. So they already added that content essentially as a DLC for that game. I think a party game, I know Amiibo Festival is kind of a meme and a game people don't want to talk about. I think a party game that is Animal Crossing themed could actually do really well, especially if they add more of an Animal Crossing twist to it. Add some day and night cycle stuff, add some real-time elements to this board game, and I think you could have a really cool Animal Crossing party game on the Switch. Now, who would develop it? Well, that's obvious, Indie Cubed. They recently did Super Mario Party in 2018, and then they did Mario Party Superstars in 2021, as well as, I believe, Clubhouse Games in between there during COVID. So I think they could be ready. I think they could have another game ready, Animal Crossing party game. We already have 2 Mario Parties on Switch, and granted, they could totally do a third, and I think most people will be fine with that after how good the past 2 were, but I would like to see them maybe just do Animal Crossing, do an Animal Crossing board game. That could be a lot of fun. Amiibo Festival was just poorly conceptualized, and it was made to sell Amiibo, and then those Amiibo were at Five Below, which is, obviously it was not what they wanted. So right now, in terms of likeliness, I would put like a board game spinoff for Animal Crossing like at the top of the list. Despite the reception of that game, it still did sell decently well for the Wii U, and something like that is easy enough to get out, I think, for this holiday season to just kind of hone back in on that Animal Crossing crowd. Because right now, if you're an Animal Crossing fan, if you bought your Switch for Animal Crossing, you kind of just have to play these random like indie games on Switch, like Lemon Cake and all these things. So that's not good. Nintendo doesn't want you to do that. They want you to get off Stardew Valley. They want you to be playing Animal Crossing, being indoctrinated in that Animal Crossing landscape. And I think a board game like that, although not a mainline Animal Crossing, of course, would be enough to, move units and just get a lot of people excited about Animal Crossing again. As for other options, I mean, who knows? I mean, they could literally do anything with Animal Crossing. I think Animal Crossing is one of the few Nintendo IP that they could transform into whatever they wanted it to be. If they wanted to make an Animal Crossing kart racer, I think they could probably do that. If they wanted to make an Animal Crossing rhythm game, I think they could probably do that. If they wanted to make a Pokemon cross Animal Crossing spinoff where all your villagers are Pokemon, they could do that. If they wanted to make Animal Crossing tactics RPG, I genuinely think that would work. Animal Crossing is probably Nintendo's most malleable franchise, so if they don't start doing something with it soon, I'm going to be very, very sus of that because they're leaving money on the table. It's weird. I guess the secret final option is also maybe just fix New Horizons. Once again, I'm not playing that game. I don't know what's wrong with it, but people really don't seem happy with where they left that game in terms of content updates. So maybe they could just go back to that. It seems a little late now. They haven't updated it in over 12 months, I believe. Don't hold me to that. I think the last major update was Happy Home Paradise. So maybe they could just go back to that well. I mean, they updated Mario Kart after 5 years, so who knows? But it just feels a little weird for them to go back to that game, in my opinion, but who knows? Maybe they will. So let me know down in the comments below, do you think Animal Crossing could be making an appearance on the Switch this year in the form of a New Leaf remaster or a remake or a spin-off of some sort, a board game, or just something completely new for the Animal Crossing franchise? I would love to have a discussion going with you all down in the comments below. Of course, this has been Botox Media signing out. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe here for more Nintendo Switch coverage, and until next time, folks, bye-bye.